OnePlus phones in 2024 have been pretty solid. They rock in terms of performance, and the pricing of these phones have been on a point. So much so that the OnePlus 12R with its starting price of 39,999 rupees has been a smashing success in the flagship killer smartphone category. By the way, this is the new Sunset Dune colorway of the OnePlus 12R, which now joins the cool blue and the iron grey color options. Now, OnePlus has also released their latest Nord 4 smartphone. That one starts at 29,999 rupees and comes with almost all the bells and whistles that you'd need in a high-performing smartphone. And given both of these phones are two of the best you can buy right now, which one should it ultimately be between these two devices if battery life and performance are two of the key selling points for you while getting a new smartphone? First, let's take a quick look at the key highlights of both the Nord 4 and the OnePlus 12R. So just because the Nord 4 is more affordable between the two, it doesn't mean it skims on features. As you can see, the OnePlus 12R has a brighter display, but the Nord 4 also has all the high-end display features plus the equally premium build, a slightly better IP rating, 6 years of software updates and higher UFS 4.0 storage standard on the 256GB variant. In fact, the battery and charging speeds are also the same on both devices. I'm telling you guys, this video will be a close one. Hello everyone, I'm Mani of Fiber by India Today, and this is the battery drain test comparison between the OnePlus Nord 4 and the OnePlus 12R. Let's get started. As always, we kick off by booting up both devices, and they boot almost neck to neck. Both phones on the table have dark mode enabled and are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. The brightness and audio are set at 50%, vivid color profile is set, 120Hz mode is enabled, and of course, both the phones' batteries are 100% charged. We start with the 2-hour YouTube video playback round, and right off the bat, it is pretty evident the OnePlus 12R has a brighter and more vibrant AMOLED panel. Now, this doesn't mean the Nord 4's display is bad. It's just in comparison to the 12R's display, you can see the difference. Now, the OnePlus 12R also has a video boost feature in the settings that you can toggle, because of which HDR videos look more pleasing to watch. Again, it dials up the vibrancy and richness. Of course, if you're a fan of natural tones, you are going to appreciate the Nord 4's panel. I would also like to point out that the Nord 4 and 12R have 1100 nits and 1600 nits brightness support in high brightness mode. So yes, outdoors, the OnePlus 12R's display is again brighter, but trust me folks, the Nord 4's display would also suffice for most people out there. I think the main choice would come between the flat and curved debate. Of course, flat displays are better at handling mistouches, and personally I also prefer flat displays, but what do you like more, flat display or a curved display? Alright, we are done with the first round of the 2-hour YouTube video playback, and right now both phones are tied. Both phones are left with 91% battery. With that, it is now time to run an hour of 1080p video recording, and while both phones are at it, here's a look at the camera specs of both devices. The OnePlus Nord 4 features a dual rear camera system comprising a 50 megapixel Sony LYT600 primary camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and a 16 megapixel snapper at the front for selfies. In terms of video recording, the rear camera is capped at 4K 60 fps, while the front supports up to 1080p 30 fps recording. The OnePlus 12R, on the other hand, features a triple rear camera system comprising a 50 megapixel Sony IMX890 primary camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, and a 16 megapixel snapper at the front for selfies. In terms of video recording, just like the Nord 4, the rear camera is capped at 4K 60 fps, while the front supports up to 1080p 30 fps recording. Now, here are some of the comparison photos of the OnePlus Nord 4 and the OnePlus 12R side by side. Let me know in the comments which phone do you think took the better shots. Of course, for a detailed overview of the camera, the individual reviews of both phones are live on Fiber, and I will also leave the video links in the description below. With that, we are done with the 1080p video recording round, and this time around, the Nord 4 has taken the lead. It is now left with 77% battery, while the OnePlus 12R is left with 74% battery. Alrighty, it is now time to run some benchmarks to get an idea if both phones are put under heavy loads in the real world, which one is going to give the better endurance. I'll also quickly show the surface temperatures, which peaked at about 38-39 degrees on the 12R and about 36 to 37 degrees on the Nord 4. Interesting. So first up, the specs. The OnePlus Nord 4 is powered by the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3 SoC coupled with up to 12GB LPDDR5X RAM and a choice between either 128GB of UFS 3.1 or a 256GB of faster UFS 4.0 storage. The OnePlus 12R on the other hand is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 SoC coupled with up to 16GB LPDDR5X RAM and up to 256GB of older UFS 3.1 storage. Starting with Geekbench 6, and in both single-core and multi-core performance, both phones record a solid showing, with the 12R taking the lead, but I have to say, the 7 Plus Gen 3 inside the Nord 4 is impressive. In Antutu, the 12R scored a typical Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 score of 1.5 million plus, but the Nord 4 also scored a pretty solid 1.3 million plus. Moving on to the 3D Mark gaming benchmark, the OnePlus 12R recorded a better stability score of 66.8%. However, for what it's worth, I also noticed that the 12R's score dropped in the third loop itself, whereas the Nord 4 held its best loop performance till the 8th minute. Finally, in the CPU throttle test, after all the torture in the previous three benchmarks, the OnePlus Nord 4 held its ground with a decent 76% stability, while the 12R recorded an average of 66% stability. Now here are the benchmark scores of both phones on your screens right now. You can pause and take a look. So 4 hours are gone into the testing and the Nord 4 is still in the lead with 51% battery left, while the OnePlus 12R is left with 47% battery. So now we are in the gaming round, and to determine which one of these two is the better gaming phone, well, not very easy to pick, but if we directly look at the prices, the Nord 4, which is 10,000 rupees cheaper, is the better pick any day of the week. But jokes aside, one thing to note here is the fact that despite the 12R powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 scoring higher in the 3D Mark gaming benchmark and also registering better GPU scores in the Antutu benchmark, in the real world, I found the gaming performance of both phones to be more or less the same. Both the Nord 4 and the 12R can run high-end games such as the likes of Call of Duty Mobile and BGMI at highest 120fps and 90fps settings respectively. But then again, one other question arises. Do both phones get warm? Yes, they do, and after prolonged gaming sessions, you also start seeing that throttle in performance, especially with the 12R. You see, in terms of hitting and maintaining that peak performance, both phones are good. However, in doing so, the phones get warm, and in that case, the thermal management is slightly better on the OnePlus Nord 4. Overall, the Nord simply runs cooler in comparison, or at least that's what I felt while testing these phones doing long sessions of gaming. And with that, we're done with the gaming round as well. In total, 5 hours have passed, and still the Nord 4 is in the lead with 37% battery left, while the OnePlus 12R is left with 32% battery. With that, we are in the last leg of our battery drain test comparison. I will now run an hour of Instagram on both phones here, but without keeping you waiting until the last minute, I am going to fast forward to the 6-hour mark, and with that, the OnePlus Nord 4 finishes with 26% battery left, while the OnePlus 12R finishes with 23% battery left. Here's an hour-by-hour breakdown of the battery drain of both phones on your screens right now. Of course, going by the stats, there's no doubt the results could have gone either way, and there's also no doubt that both these phones, with their high capacity battery and good efficiency, boast some of the best endurance you can get on upper mid-range phones. However, which among the two makes the utmost sense? That is the main question, and I think while endurance and performance wise both phones are comparable, when it comes to the price, the OnePlus Nord 4 is the better proposition, hands down. You see, granted the 12R has 16GB RAM, but 12GB RAM is also more than enough on the Nord 4. Not to mention, in the top variant, you also get UFS 4.0 storage on the Nord 4 versus UFS 3.1 storage on the 12R, so better read and write speeds on the Nord. Also, while the 12R does have slightly better numbers in synthetic benchmarks, in the real world gaming performance is more or less the same. In fact, in terms of thermal management, I found the Nord 4 to be better than the 12R. So if you ask me, both phones are pretty good, and so the prices of both phones here hold significant importance. If you really need to have that curved display, slightly better brightness and slightly better camera performance thanks to the IMX890 sensor, go for the OnePlus 12R. However, practically, the OnePlus Nord 4 is the logical choice to go. It looks good, has almost all the novelties of the OnePlus 12R, including a slightly better IP rating and an equally potent Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3 chip, and again is priced at 10,000 rupees less than the OnePlus 12R. Rest, what are your thoughts about this battery drain test comparison between the Nord 4 and the 12R? Let me know everything in the comments below, and as always, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Fiber, and if you haven't subscribed already, then definitely hit that subscribe button. I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, thank you for watching and take care of yourself.